Good morning, and let me say something that might completely change how you think about the next chapter of your life. Selling your beloved home to fund a nursing home is not your only option, and for millions of elderly Americans, it might actually be the absolute worst choice you could make. I have spent decades watching vibrant seniors lose their independence because they thought institutional care was inevitable. Today, I am going to show you an incredible financial alternative. It is so life-giving that I genuinely believe the traditional senior care industry doesn't want you to know it even exists. Most aging Americans face a deeply unsettling binary choice when their physical stamina begins to fade. You either survive in complete isolation inside your suburban home, or you sign over your asset deed to an institutional senior care facility. It is a rigid, black and white trap that modern society forces upon older adults. This choice destroys social autonomy and strips away individual dignity. Think about your current life in the American suburbs. You might be living in a beautiful multi-bedroom house. It is the exact place where you raised your children and achieved your personal American dream. But now, those extra rooms are completely empty. The stairs are starting to feel steeper every single week. Maintenance is becoming an overwhelming burden. Yet, the thought of leaving this familiar space makes you feel completely cold inside. Your entire identity is deeply rooted in those walls. The traditional alternative is institutional care. Most people picture a warm, supportive community, but the institutional reality often looks completely different. It can mean a highly sterile room, an environment dictated by rigid corporate schedules, and a total loss of personal control. You no longer choose when to eat, when to sleep, or who walks through your door. Your daily routines collapse. Now consider the massive pressure placed on your adult children. They belong to what sociologists call the sandwich generation. They are simultaneously raising their own teenagers, managing demanding careers, and trying to protect you. They watch your physical health decline from a distance and feel a constant, suffocating guilt. Caregiver burnout is a genuine medical crisis that tears American families apart. Out of pure fear for your physical safety, your children might start pushing for a nursing home placement. They do not want to take away your freedom, but they simply do not see any other viable path forward. This is where the collective system fails you completely. The entire industry relies on the premise that once an individual can no longer manage entirely alone, institutionalization is the only logical step. It creates an artificial dependency. It teaches older adults that their active contribution to society is over and that they must accept a passive, managed existence. But this centralized institutional model creates massive, hidden pressures on vulnerable families. The financial strain alone can deplete an entire life of hard work within a matter of months. Families are forced to make monumental financial commitments under extreme emotional distress, often without understanding the long-term consequences on their personal wealth. You deserve to stay in your space, surrounded by your history, sleeping in your own bed, and keeping your beloved routines. You should never be forced to sacrifice your autonomy just because your body is experiencing natural structural changes. The binary choice between total isolation at home or complete dependency in an institution is entirely false. Now, here's what I really want you to stay for. There is a legal, heavily vetted financial mechanism that dissolves this entire dilemma. It allows you to unlock the hidden value tied up in your property without selling your home or moving an inch away from your neighborhood. It provides the exact financial resources needed to bring professional, high-level medical oversight directly to your doorstep. You can maintain your complete independence while completely eliminating the emotional and physical burden on your children. What if I told you that your home is actually a massive financial asset currently frozen solid by fear? Most aging Americans view their property purely as a physical structure, an inheritance for their children, or a place where their history resides. But when physical limitations accelerate, this property suddenly transforms into an unmanageable burden. You feel trapped because you are asset rich but cash poor. You assume the only path to survival is selling this physical legacy to pay for corporate care. But there is a centralized tool specifically engineered to shatter this financial paralysis entirely. We are talking about a unique financial solution known as a reverse mortgage, specifically the program managed and validated by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. This federally regulated program is officially called the Home Equity Conversion Mortgage. This is not a standard home loan, and it is certainly not a vehicle designed to strip you of your property. It is an intentional, structured financial framework that converts your accumulated home equity directly into tax-free liquidity while protecting your absolute right to remain in your space. Let us look closely at how this works in practice. To enter this program, you must meet a definitive legal baseline. The federal criteria require that you are at least 62 years of age. You must also own your home outright or have a minimal remaining mortgage balance that can be paid off at closing. If you meet this legal criterion, the program allows you to extract a significant portion of your equity without ever triggering a monthly mortgage payment requirement. The financial structure converts your frozen real estate wealth into a predictable stream of cash. This cash can be utilized immediately to fund intensive medical oversight, advanced physical therapy, or specialized clinical care right inside your house. Why is this asset conversion so revolutionary for aging bodies? Think of your home equity like water trapped inside an underground reservoir. You are experiencing physical dehydration, yet you are sitting directly on top of a massive supply of life-giving resources. The system tells you that to access that water, you must sell the entire plot of land and move to a centralized facility. This program acts as a sophisticated financial pump, pulling that liquidity out to nourish your daily life while ensuring you keep your cat, sleep in your own familiar bed, and maintain your private routine. This dynamic completely changes the power relationship between independent seniors and the corporate senior care complex. Instead of exhausting your personal savings or feeling forced to hand over your deed to an institution, you are leveraging your real estate wealth to dictate your own clinical care. The funds can be received in multiple ways. You can establish a line of credit that grows over time, receive fixed monthly cash advances, or take a single lump sum. This financial autonomy is the single strongest protective factor against the mental and physical deterioration caused by forced relocation trauma. The structural beauty of this framework lies in its absolute protection of your individual independence. You retain the title to your property. The home remains entirely yours, exactly as it was before. The program specifies that as long as you continue to live in the home as your principal residence, maintain the physical property, and pay your required property taxes, the loan does not have to be repaid. It is a non-recourse financial loan, meaning that neither you nor your adult children will ever be held personally liable if the loan balance eventually exceeds the market value of your home. To initiate this transition, you do not visit a private bank or respond to an aggressive television advertisement. The process requires a comprehensive educational session with a certified counselor approved by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. These counselors operate across every state to ensure that you fully understand the mechanics, the closing costs, and the absolute protections built into the federal law. This structured process ensures you make your financial decisions out of pure clarity, completely independent of corporate influence. You no longer have to navigate a painful financial compromise. You do not have to burden your adult children or sacrifice the home that represents your life's work. By utilizing this framework, you are reclaiming your agency. You are transforming your home from a source of anxiety into a powerful shield that finances your safety, your medical care, and your personal dignity. But before we go any further into the structural details, I want to hear from you directly. Drop a comment below right now and tell me how old you are and whether you or someone you love deeply is currently trying to figure out this exact housing dilemma. Are you watching your parents struggle in a house that is simply too big? Or are you an independent senior refusing to let a corporate entity dictate your later years? I read every single comment on this channel, everyone. Your real stories shape these deep financial investigations, and they help me deliver accurate, honest, and practical options that your traditional bank simply does not have the time to explain to you. Now, as an expert committed to absolute transparency, we must engage in a completely honest debate. I am not here to paint a flawless, perfect picture of this asset conversion strategy. That would be a massive disservice to your family. A reverse mortgage is a highly sophisticated legal instrument, and like any powerful financial tool, it comes with rigid structural responsibilities that you must fully grasp before signing a deed. Let us analyze the critical warnings outlined in the official consumer guidelines published by the United States Federal Trade Commission. The regulatory framework emphasizes that this arrangement is not free money, it is an equity-consuming advance. While you are completely exempt from making monthly mortgage payments, the loan balance grows over time. The interest and fees are continuously added to the principal balance, which means your remaining home equity will steadily decrease. Think of your home equity like a substantial block of ice sitting in an open room. This financial strategy allows you to catch the melting water in a cup to fund your private in-home nurses and medical bills. But you must recognize that the main block of ice is gradually getting smaller. This means the eventual inheritance left for your adult children will be significantly reduced. For independent, self-reliant Americans who prioritize passing down an intact real estate legacy to the next generation, this structural reality requires a serious family discussion. Furthermore, the Federal Trade Commission explicitly warns that you do not escape the foundational costs of American property ownership. Reclaiming your independence means you must maintain absolute fiscal discipline. You remain legally and financially responsible for your ongoing property taxes. You are entirely responsible for keeping active homeowners insurance policies. You must continuously fund the physical maintenance of the structure to prevent property deterioration. If you fail to meet these specific legal obligations, if you fall behind on your local county property taxes, or if you neglect basic home repairs, the loan can be declared in default. The corporate servicing entity then has the legal authority to trigger a foreclosure process regardless of your physical health or age. This is why a reverse mortgage demands an exceptional level of personal financial accountability. It is an arrangement designed strictly for seniors who are mentally sharp, highly organized, and capable of managing local property regulations. You must also understand that this program is uniquely designed as a long-term residential stability plan. The full loan balance, including all accumulated interest, becomes immediately due and payable when the last surviving borrower passes away, sells the home, or moves out of the property permanently for 12 consecutive months due to medical reasons. If you plan to relocate to a different state in 2 years, the substantial upfront closing fees mean this option is completely wrong for you. We are looking at a sessional balance of power. This strategy requires a total alignment between your physical health objectives and your property obligations. It is a powerful tool to fund advanced independent living, but it operates under cold, rigid corporate rules. You keep the absolute right to live on your own terms, but you must continue to pay your societal dues. Now that we have established a clear, transparent understanding of the legal frameworks and risks, let us focus entirely on the practical execution. Most people assume that medical care at home is inherently inferior to an institutional setting. They believe that without the corporate walls of a commercial facility, a senior cannot possibly receive advanced clinical oversight. This is a completely outdated myth. By executing an intentional strategy, you can construct what geriatricians now call a hospital without walls. You are converting your frozen home equity directly into a highly sophisticated, deeply personalized medical ecosystem that operates entirely on your own terms. Here is exactly what this looks like in practice inside an American household. You are utilizing the tax-free liquidity generated from the home equity conversion mortgage to bypass the limitations of standard insurance. You are hiring private certified home health aides and registered nurses to enter your space on a customized schedule. They assist with complex medication administration, wound care management, and intensive physical therapy. But you are combining this human presence with cutting-edge medical technology. You install a network of non-invasive wireless devices throughout your residence. A blood pressure cuff that transmits data instantly, digital pulse oximeters, smart scales to monitor fluid retention, and continuous fall detection sensors. Why does this remote monitoring integration completely change the medical paradigm? Think of your independent home like an isolated naval vessel out at sea. The corporate care industry argues that you must dock permanently at a massive commercial port to remain safe. But remote technology transforms your vessel into a fully connected command center. Your biometric data is sent in real time to a dedicated clinical team monitoring it from a distance. If your oxygen saturation drops slightly or a vital sign fluctuates at 3 o'clock in the morning, an automated alert is triggered. A clinician contacts you before a minor health variation escalates into a major emergency room visit. You are receiving premium, high-level institutional oversight while maintaining total physical autonomy in your neighborhood. The practical execution of this approach allows you to seamlessly blend private medical services with your existing public benefits. In the American healthcare system, traditional programs like Medicare Part A and Part B have very strict, narrow baselines for what they define as medically necessary home care. They often cover short-term skilled nursing care after an acute hospitalization, but they leave massive catastrophic gaps when it comes to long-term custodial care, daily bathing assistance, and consistent physical therapy. By utilizing your private HECM liquidity, you are not replacing your public coverage. You are building a powerful supplementary shield directly over it. You use public benefits to fund your primary physician visits and acute medical equipment, while your unlocked home equity funds the consistent, daily human infrastructure required to keep you safe and independent. Consider the profound psychological impact of this clinical environment on an aging body. When you enter a commercial facility, you experience an immediate, measurable stress response known as transfer trauma. Your cognitive baseline declines simply because your mind is forced to navigate an unfamiliar corporate layout. But a hospital without walls operates entirely within your established comfort zone. You are working with your private physical therapist on the exact stairs you have walked for 40 years. You are eating food prepared in your own kitchen. Your sleep architecture remains completely undisturbed because you are resting in your own familiar bed. This environmental familiarity allows your brain to conserve vital neural energy, stabilizing your cognitive function and accelerating your physical recovery. This strategy requires a highly structured method of administration. You do not simply hire random independent care workers from internet listings. You use your financial liquidity to partner with premier, licensed home care registries or professional geriatric care managers. These specialists evaluate the structural safety of your suburban home. They coordinate the scheduling of your private nursing team, manage the technological calibration of your remote monitoring sensors, and interface directly with your primary American healthcare providers. You are establishing a professional circle of protection that distributes the immense physical and emotional burden of care away from your adult children. Your family is no longer trapped in a state of exhaustion. They return to their natural role as your loving family, while your unlocked property equity finances the professional medical infrastructure that guarantees your health, your absolute safety, and your individual human dignity. The fundamental concept of active aging comes down to one core reality: who maintains control over your life? For too long, modern society has presented older adults with a narrow corporate paradigm. The traditional system tells you that aging is an inevitable, rapid decline toward complete dependency. It teaches you that once your physical body demands support, your status as a self-reliant individual ceases to exist. It forces vulnerable families to choose between a state of pure exhaustion or handing over their entire life savings to a centralized commercial institution. But this black and white framework is entirely false. True independence is not defined by an absence of physical limitations. True independence means having the absolute power to choose exactly how your personal needs are managed. It means remaining the primary author of your own life story, defending your space, and keeping your historical identity completely intact. The strategic financial frameworks managed by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development and analyzed by the Federal Trade Commission prove that you do not have to abandon your property to protect your safety. You do not have to compromise your personal liberty to access advanced medical oversight. You can transform your property wealth into a powerful shield that finances a custom private ecosystem right at your doorstep. This self-directed approach is a complete validation of the individual freedom that defines the American identity. Your suburban home is not just a building. It represents your hard work, your autonomy, and your private legacy. Reclaiming your property equity to fund your own health care is an act of pure strength. You are refusing to vanish into a managed institutional routine. You are deciding that your daily habits, your morning routines, and your personal autonomy are worth fighting for until your very last days. When you establish a connected medical network inside your own house, your mind and body respond to that familiarity. You stabilize your health because you are living in a space of complete dignity. What protects your longevity is not a miracle medical breakthrough, it is the preservation of your individual pride. You have the tools, the legal protections, and the absolute right to design an aging journey on your own terms. Do not allow corporate structures or systemic fear to dictate your choices. Your life's work was built to serve you, and it can now be utilized to guarantee your safety without placing a heavy physical or emotional burden on your adult children. Your family can remain a source of pure emotional connection while your asset equity finances the professional medical infrastructure that keeps you safe. You are choosing a path of profound self-determination. If this deep financial investigation gave you accurate, practical information you have never heard before, please hit that subscribe button right now. I release intensive, science-backed content every single week, specifically for seniors and families navigating the real, raw challenges of aging. Hit the like button so this vital message can break through the algorithm and reach other vulnerable families who are currently drowning in anxiety. Now, I want to hear your voice. Leave a comment below and tell me exactly which aspect of this equity conversion strategy surprised you the most. If you or a loved one have already utilized a government-backed HECM program to fund private home care, share your practical story with our community. Your individual experience could be the exact guide another family needs to read today. I will be directly in the comments section waiting to read your responses. Thank you for watching, keep fighting for your personal autonomy, and I will see you in the next video.